Hi, everyone. I'm the Reluctant Hermit. I'm a full-time content creator here on Twitch and on YouTube. I play fantasy RPGs, sing songs from Lord of the Rings, Monty Python, and The Witcher. I do blacksmithing, fantasy gaming, and music on stream. And the entire point of my channel is to follow my passions and model how to follow your passions so I can inspire you to follow your passions. And I stream Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday on Twitch from 1 p.m. Pacific, 2 Mountain Standard, 3 Central, and 4 Eastern, and 9 G. Thank you for having me.
Well, hello, welcome everyone. I am Watch Holly. This is the Reluctant Hermit, and we're going to do season 4 of our interviews about offline content. How do you grow offline when you're not streaming? So Reluctant Hermit, go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, so I initially didn't choose to become a content creator. It's something that I haven't really talked about a little bit. I was a massage therapist for like 10 years. And then the pandemic happened, and I was also moonlighting as an audio engineer. And my friend and I had started streaming bands from venues in a safe way during the pandemic. And he told me, hey, you should get on Twitch. And I thought no one's going to want to talk to me because I'm kind of a not eccentric, but a little bit of a strange dude in my mind. And I ended up falling in love with Twitch. Started in, I believe, July of 2020, and I've been going for the past basically 5 years now, and changing my content over time. It's been a very, very interesting experience because I've had absolutely no other experience coming into this. So I've just been learning along the way and meeting wonderful people who've been giving me great advice. And here I am today, still doing the thing, but changing things, I feel like, quite dramatically. I got partnered, I believe, 1.5 years into my content creation journey, which was a real gift. However, I would say that the manner in which that I did so, if I could go back and do it differently, I would. And that has to do with, I believe we've talked about this before, finding the right time to stream. In the middle of a pandemic, it's easy to be up until 2, 3 in the morning. I discovered that wasn't good for my health. So there are a couple things that I would have changed. But I live in California, funnily enough, on the central coast of California, in a series of tiny homes that I built myself. I built my own blacksmith forge. I built my own recording studio, and I do this full time currently while incorporating blacksmithing and voice acting in order to kind of move my life forward.
That's so cool. I feel like I've watched you for so long, but I didn't know you were living in tiny little homes.
Yeah, these are 10 by 12 barns. I was going to take you outside with me,
Yeah.
but I think my fiance might be doing art or yoga outside. I was like, you know what? Maybe we should give them the space.
Especially yoga.
Yeah, it's kind of like maybe
needs to
not
have
the
her
thing to
zen.
have in the background. Exactly. Give them their space. Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're going to talk about a little bit of offline content. Which social media platform or offline content strategy has contributed to your Twitch growth?
Working with YouTube, I think for a little while, a lot of people were saying it's like you really should just focus on one platform and really kind of go full bore on it when you're starting out. And it's like, I understand that. But when it came to YouTube, I realized that I think that you can reach kind of a wider audience, and it's sort of evergreen content to a degree because there's no expiration date, right, on the content. With Twitch, we have a certain number of days where our VOD stays up, people can watch it afterwards as it subscribe, etc. But with YouTube, it's sort of kind of like a chronicle of your journey and how you grow and develop. And it took me a while to kind of figure out what I really wanted to do because everyone was telling me, like, you got to do Let's Play videos in order to like reach gamers because they're going to want to come over to Twitch. And the interesting thing that I discovered over time was if you're not passionate about something, if you choose to create content that is said to quote unquote work, but you're not passionate about it, it shows.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, there are certain kinds of content where it is really a dime and a dozen that already do that. There are tons and tons of channels that do Let's Plays, and they're all wonderful, but it's a bit of a impacted market, I would say, in terms of quote unquote. It's oversaturated is the word. Sorry. And I found myself really kind of resenting recording offline content because gaming to me has always been sort of a relaxing, fun experience. And to turn it into work in a capacity where I'm having to think a little bit too much in that space. When we're doing things live, we have a chat to react with us and experience things. When we're on our own, it comes down to our own personal experience. And I discovered I started to resent doing that kind of content. But what I did discover that I loved was I loved reading books to people. And I used to do that on Monday nights, or not used to, I do that on Monday nights for my community. And I would read, I was reading the book Aragon at the time. And I discovered that if I continued to follow that particular niche content of, reading or reacting or creating sort of things around books, that the longevity of how much joy I had around it continued. And actually, that's what has been growing my Twitch space, is that my love for being an audiobook narrator and creating audiobooks of my own creation has actually led people from YouTube over onto Twitch, because some of them are resonating with the style of storytelling that I'm doing. So it came down to realizing, okay, if I'm going to create YouTube content, I have to be happy about it, really happy about it. And then on top of that, needed to make sure it's something that I can do consistently. So
Definitely.
with consistently and posting consistently. And what I discovered is that once a week is manageable to me in terms of long form content. Short form content, I think, is an interesting evolving experience, because there are different metas that happen almost within 3 months of each other, I find. And learning how to create hooks and driving a story in a short form content is a skill that takes time to develop, and I'm still learning that right now. So YouTube really is the only platform that I've been focusing on, because I've been trying to understand Instagram. I just don't understand Instagram, and I've been trying to understand Twitter, and I don't. But that's not to say that you shouldn't be using those platforms. If you just take a little bit of time to research those platforms, you can figure out what content to put on each platform. But YouTube has been the best for me so far.
And so you're talking about how you would film for your YouTube, and then what do you do by chance with your VODs? Do you use your VODs for your short form or your long form content?
Sometimes. For a bit, I really had to get there was a program that I was using, and I think that they literally disappeared. They were around for a bit. It wasn't Streamladder, it was something else. And I really appreciated how they had clips basically made for you in there, or they would transfer onto that platform, and it was easy to sort of edit them. I'm currently trying to use a new platform called Eclipse GG that I've seen advertised everywhere. And I think the biggest challenge with short form content is that it's not plug and play. So a lot of people assume that you can just kind of grab some program, I'll just put up a clip and I'll throw it on YouTube and it'll blow up. It's well, actually, no, there's a little bit more thought that really needs to go into short form content. So with VODs, especially with any sort of clips, what I've discovered is that the more effort I put into actually curating those clips, especially if they are impactful, right? And what I mean is that they have an emotional moment that's, very genuine, authentic. Those tend to perform better because it connects with people authentically. If you just throw bits and pieces up and kind of try and memify things and it doesn't quite land, people will swipe past it. And I've been testing that based off of looking at emotion, the moments where I feel like there's something that's really that has merit versus something that might be just a little bit funny but disjointed. So when it comes to short form content and VODs, really pay attention to what you're putting out there, because it's not volume necessarily that's going to break through the static, because there are tons of people doing this, right? So being a little bit discerning actually goes a long way. So taking bits from your VODs that really are, if you can remember a moment that you had a great teachable moment, or there was a really, really exciting thing, when you get that clip, really work on it and watch it and see if it grabs your attention. Because if you're not enjoying that moment, guarantee you someone that doesn't know you isn't.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And what is your best performing content, and why do you think it worked?
The best performing content that happened on YouTube, or best performing content, there was a video on YouTube that I released. There was a reaction video, and I don't really do reaction videos, but the game that I was playing was Baldur's Gate 3. I've been in love with that game since it was an alpha. It's actually how I met a lot of my community members. My love for fantasy and swords and armor and things has been a consistent thing throughout my entire life. And there is a scene where there's a bard that sings this song about losing her mentor, and I've had a lot of loss in my life, and so this particular moment really kind of hit me, like right in the chest, and I ended up crying, crying for about 5-10 minutes after watching this because it's such a beautiful song, and I was recording at the time, and it was a bit. I would say it felt a little awkward to be in my space, realizing that I was recording something.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I completely got lost in the experience, and I had this moment where I was reflecting on all of the people that have mentored me, and those that are still alive, and those that have passed, and just had this sincere moment of gratitude. And basically, was talking about how I think it's brilliant that Larian Studios is not afraid in their storytelling to really delve into those topics. So I clipped that bit because afterwards I wrote it down and I thought, well, that was a very real moment and I think that it would be important to share. And I put it up on YouTube. And the thing that I will say that's important when you're putting stuff up on YouTube is that your thumbnail does matter to a large degree. That's a whole other like skill that you develop over time, but also labeling it, right?
The title.
The title can be very, very important. And I was trying to be clever, and I was like, no, this is just crying reaction to this song. I think at this point it's near 40 to 50,000 views, and the original singer from the game actually came in and said a couple words on the video, and it's been kind of lovely to see that people are coming together and relating to what was said in that 3-minute long video. The other video that is doing well right now is the first part of a book, but that's because people enjoy stories,
right?
I think.
Yeah, definitely. You referenced a hook a little bit earlier. What do you by chance do for your hooks, if you do them?
That's a funny thing. So this is the thing that I've been trying to contemplate for a while, because I feel to some degree I've had random success because I haven't put enough thought into the content that I'm making in terms of short form content. And I think over time, the funny thing was I was actually trolling, like not trolling through, but like scrolling through Instagram reels, and everyone is telling you how to, like, trying to sell you a course on how to make content. And I started to notice similarities between all of the different content creators and what they were saying. And I realized, okay, this is question, need, potential joke, then vague solution, then invitation, right? So you are paying attention to a need that someone might have, or a question that in general can appeal to a wide audience, and you're also creating bits of the content where it moves kind of quickly. I think every frame that I saw within one VOD, it was like every 3 seconds there was a changed perspective, and what that does is it creates the illusion that there's something different happening, when in reality you have the same story happening. It's very clever because your brain kind of goes, oh, it's new, and they're still carrying you through the same story. So it's brilliant, but if you don't catch it, it's kind of like, well, what are they doing? Why is it succeeding? It's like because we've learned, content creators have learned how to grab people's attention, and it's based off of imagery moving at a certain pace while maintaining a story and pulling you in through story.
Yeah, no, I like that. And then use the golden 3-second rule that our attention spans is only 3 seconds long nowadays.
Oh yeah, most memes. I have a nephew who's, I think, 14 or 15, and he would try and show me memes to him, and I just kind of looked at him like, Uncle Hermit don't get it. It's like literally 2 seconds. It's just like, what is it? Oh yeah. Actually, at VidCon, I had this just a funny aside talking about content that worked that I don't understand why it works. Skibidi Toilet. I don't know anything about it, really, other than it exists. I
don't know it at all.
It's it's some sort of viral VOD, right? Okay. And I was at VidCon going to these, which is for YouTube, going to some of these seminars, and this young kid, he must have been 13 or 14. I was passing by, and he just looked at me and went, Skibidi? And I said, no, I'm sorry, that's not my name.
Oh, no.
And he went, oh, you're El Rizza. And I walked away, and I have no idea what that child just said to me. No clue.
Oh, my God.
So when it comes to content, what I'm starting to realize also is that hooks and content creation shifts almost seasonally. And so it's important to try and keep up on trends, but also recognize what demographic you're going to be relating to.
Yeah.
I looked on my YouTube analytics, which is a really great thing. When you get partner on YouTube, go look at your analytics. It shows you the age range of the people that are watching your content, that are sticking around. Learn to appeal to people in your age range to a degree, because I found that that's the most consistent way that people come back. I would say it's a lot harder for me to relate to anyone, say like someone that's 16, right? My experience and their experience, why I might have something, helpful to say in my life, might not connect to someone that is half my age. So find your audience is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. You referenced like the trends and kind of try and find them. How do you find the trends?
By spending way too much time going through YouTube Shorts.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a problem, but what I've been finding that I do, and this is just kind of because I want to get better at what I'm doing, is I'll watch a lot of YouTube Shorts to see what's going on, and I know that algorithmically that'll feed you the same things, right? After a certain period of time, but there are moments where I'm like brushing my teeth, and I know it seems so. It's like, put down your phone, dude. It's like, well, this besides when I'm working on things here, those are the moments that I have time to kind of research / experience that kind of content. And I think that's how you learn what's going on, is by giving yourself a little bit of time throughout the day, not only to be entertained, but if you can, kind of speedrun stuff. Or look up viral shorts and look at what's trending. And one of the weird things that I've been finding, I don't know if it's my algorithm particularly, but a lot of the YouTube shorts that I'm seeing are their Twitter posts with the story was someone's face underneath, and they're not even reacting. They're just sitting there.
Oh.
And I kind of went, I don't understand why this is performing. And I realized it has nothing to do with the person. It's the amount of watch time because someone's reading something.
Right, yeah.
So people are learning to play to the algorithm, because realistically what YouTube wants is to have your attention as long as possible. So if you can figure out how to grab people's attention in terms of watch time the most, you can have quote unquote successful content, because it's being looked at. Even if it's like, sometimes I get frustrated because it's a story that doesn't have a resolution, and I kind of go, oh my God, I just spent the last 30 seconds reading this Twitter post on a YouTube short.
And it doesn't even matter.
And there's no payoff. And I'm like, why?
But that's when you click on the profile, and that's when you try and find the part 2. And
exactly. Parts can be a really interesting thing too. There are a couple content creators that I really like. No Panic Button. I will forewarn everyone, he's more of an 18+ channel, but he's a blacksmith. I'm a blacksmith, so I'm like, I like him. He tells stories. So his content's not even about blacksmithing necessarily. He's telling he's creating skits and stories, and that grabs your attention. And so to me, that kind of content I've seen more recently is supplemental to your other content, allows people to get to know you, and then people become invested in actually getting to know you more as a person, because you're creating a story with them, but also kind of revealing who you are at the same time. So he's been very successful as a result of that. So that to me is, when I come back, that's the kind of content I'm going to be doing, is I'm going to be telling stories from multiple perspectives, but as myself, that relates to my content.
I love it. And any kind of final thoughts to give any streamer looking to break into the short, long-form social media offline content space?
If you can't, find an editor. Just kidding. That's
so true. If you can, you can afford it. Oh my God.
Well, if you either afford it, or if you have a friend that is in school for video editing, but make sure that you're hanging out with them. Like, if you're asking for free work, really make sure that there's some sort of give and take there. But really, I think that the main thing is, please while it's important to look at trends, it's important to understand how to create content through hooks and formatting. Find something that really lights you up from the inside. You don't want to get stuck for years doing the same kind of content that you're not passionate about. So don't just follow trends that you see to build your space. Find something that really lights you up from the inside, that makes you excited to create the content for it. Otherwise, you will burn out.
Yep. And I have been there, so.
We've talked a little bit. I went to your seminar, actually.
Yeah.
TwitchCon, and I was like, that right there. Yes, I understand that. Anyway.
Well, thank you so much. I'm going to say, we are going to say goodbye to YouTube, and then I'll say goodbye to you afterwards, okay?
Oh, lovely.
Yes, well, thank you so much for everything. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you on your streams.
Thank you so much, Holly, for having me. Really, really, really appreciate being here.
Yes, of course. All right, bye, YouTube.